sit that right there, don't go nowhere, little baby gon' shake that, 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 shit, yeah, I like that, bring that right here, sit that right there, don't go.
Welcome back. We back with another reaction video. Today we are reacting to a Stay Awake Crime and Psychology video. ATM Camera solves horrific double murder. Let's get right into it.
Where have you been living since July 15th of 2005?
Duval County Jail.
Why have you been living in jail since July 15th, 2005?
I participated in the murder of the Sumners.
Are you guilty of participating in that murder?
Yes, sir.
Are you guilty of kidnapping Carol and Reggie Sumner?
Yes, sir.
Are you guilty of robbing them?
Yes, sir.
Are you guilty of killing them?
Yes, sir.
Are you guilty of killing them?
Yes, sir.
Have you pled guilty to those charges?
Yes, sir.
This is 35-year-old Bruce Nixon testifying about the last day that Carol and James Reggie Sumner were seen alive.
Who participated in that crime with you?
Me, Alan Wade, Tiffany Cole, and Michael Jackson.
Damn!
Please tell the jury how you first became involved in the
Jackson's
plot to kill Carol and Reggie Sumner.
From this point on, Bruce explains to the court every moment that led to this couple's tragic death. The details he goes into are equally as disturbing as they are infuriating. Perhaps the best way to describe this story is peak senseless brutality. As told by Bruce, the story began 17 years earlier and was the result of a greedy young woman named Tiffany Cole. For several years leading up to spring 2005, Tiffany's father had lived next door to Carol and Reggie in Charleston, South Carolina. Although Tiffany was not particularly close to the couple, the two families would often interact, and Tiffany even purchased a car from them on a monthly payment plan. Eventually, the Sumners decided to move to Jacksonville, so from that point on, Tiffany would travel to visit them to make her monthly car payments. She would also use these trips to reconnect with some old friends. During one of Tiffany's visits in June of 2005, she and her then-boyfriend, Michael James Jackson, were invited to stay at the couple's house. Little did they know, this sleepover acted as a catalyst for the dark events that happened next. As they stayed the night, Tiffany and Michael discovered that the Sumners had recently profited around $99,000 by selling their Charleston home, and that they also owned several other valuable assets. It was evident to Michael that the Sumners were vulnerable targets due to their old age, frailty, and poor health condition. This information led to a plan to raid the Sumners' residence. Before going through with it, they invited 18-year-old Alan Wade to help out, who then brought 18-year-old Bruce Nixon into the scheme. On July 8th...
Okay, off the rip. That's way too many people for however many assets y'all are supposedly trying to split, which y'all are going to have to get off by illegal means, because I know they're not carrying a lump sum of cash. So this plan off the rip is stupid. I'm not going to lie. I'm not spilling the money that many ways.
2005, at around 10 p.m., this twisted plan came to fruition, and the events that took place that fateful night are almost too sickening to believe. But we will get to that later. 2 days after the robbery, on July 10th, Reggie and Carol's daughter, Rhonda Elford, contacted the Jacksonville Police Department to report the couple missing. Officers were dispatched and immediately conducted a search of the Sumner residence. During this search, they found their vehicle missing and the front door unlocked. The garage door was also left open. They also noticed that the couple's medications were still in the house, which was strange given their poor health condition. On top of that, it appeared that several valuable items, including their bank cards, had been taken. Despite this series of red flags, there was no sign of a break-in and no evidence that a violent crime had taken place. Regardless, the case was broadcasted on local news stations as the police were asking for any tips to help locate the couple.
A neighbor tells family that she remembers seeing a strange car come and go from the Sumners' house, and family says that they think that Carol and Reggie probably were just being nice.
Investigators received several tips like this one, but none of which were as substantial as what happened on July 12th. Just 2 days after the Sumners were reported missing, investigators received a peculiar phone call from two individuals claiming to be Reggie and Carol Sumner.
How you doing? My name is Reggie Sumner. I'm trying to tell my wife right now her sister passed away. A friend of ours that lives in the neighborhood called this morning and said that the garage was open and that the Lincoln was missing. We just moved actually to there not long ago from South Carolina. Do you have anybody that we can contact to help us make sure that everything is in the house that should be there?
No, sir. My family lives in another state.
The callers were actually Michael and Tiffany posing as the couple, attempting to gather information while creating the illusion.
The vocal is too young. They're old people. You didn't even try to stagger while speaking. No, not slurred speech, but like a slower pattern of speaking. None of that. Okay, cool. You ain't try to make your voice sound a little bit older. No, nothing. Y'all sound like y'all in your 20s.
That the Sumners were simply out of town. This call was recorded and played for Rhonda, who immediately rejected any notion that the voices belonged to her parents. Investigators were now more concerned than ever and promptly ramped up their search efforts. 2 days after receiving this strange call, on July 14th, the police caught a huge break in the case when they discovered that the couple's bank cards were still being used to withdraw cash. They then cross-checked the ATMs being used with local surveillance cameras and were able to track down Michael Jackson, Tiffany Cole, and Alan Wade to a motel in Charleston. Inside the motel room, officers found several items that belonged to Reggie and Carol. It was not long before a fourth suspect, Bruce Nixon, was also arrested in Jacksonville. Since Bruce was being the most cooperative upon his arrest, detectives decided to interview him first regarding the couple's disappearance. During his interview, he admitted to all of the despicable things that the four friends did that evening. He also confirmed that Reggie and Carol were in fact deceased after the group of four buried the couple alive.
Investigating a missing person case. Yeah, that's why I was asking. Okay, well, Kevin here has helped me out, okay?
Yes, sir. Have you been watching the news? Mm-hmm. Not familiar at all with anything? Okay, that's James Sumner, and that's his wife, Carol Sumner. Those names don't ring a bell to you? Okay.
No, sir.
Okay. Never been to their house?
Mm-hmm. See, I came out to Jacksonville this weekend with my friend Alan Wade. You came out this past weekend with Alan? Yeah. All right. Well, tell us about that weekend. I came out here for a couple of days. He came and picked me up or whatever. I went out there with his mom and stayed the night a couple nights. Did y'all hang out with anybody else? One of his friends. Who would that be? Wise. Yeah, his name's Wise or something.
Yeah, let's just call him
Was
Wise.
he there with anybody? Miss Wise?
There's a girl with us. I don't know who she is. I think it's his girlfriend. I don't know her. Tiff or something. They call her Tiff.
It's a misnomer.
We just rode around. They smoke, but you can ask all my friends. I don't. You can Joy test me right now.
Wait, that's not what we asked about.
Okay, so then they're smoking, and you're with them all night. Yeah. Is that correct? And you guys are
I think it was Thursday or Friday.
Okay. Bruce, let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
How do you think we came to meet with you?
I'm not sure. You need to think about it. Did y'all stop anywhere? No, sir. I promise to God.
The detectives now changed their approach from inquisitory to confrontational.
Of course.
Not long before Bruce cracks under the pressure.
Why do you think we're here talking about these people? Well, you can put it together. I mean, you would ask me, they're missing people, then you ask me about them. That's why I ain't going to get caught up in all this. Okay. It's kind of freaking me out, knowing Al, my best friend's in all this. You're right. Look at these folks.
Brother, you was with them.
Somebody's grandparents.
I know.
Somebody's mom and daddy. Aunt and uncle.
Yeah, that's how life works.
We are providing you an opportunity to because we
guilt tripping play.
We want to hear what everybody has to say.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what.
Okay, and that's what I need to know. I need to hear it from you. Okay, and I need the truth.
Oh, yeah, you about to break.
Yeah. All right. Okay, hold on. Just give me a second. Okay. I just want to be able to go to school next year.
So what?
Just so everybody will finish.
This be pissing me off. So why did you go do the... Man, like, bro, what are you talking about? Sir, what are you talking about? You wanted to do what with whom for what? So why did you go with your friend, best friend, to go take these two old people out the game? There's no reason for you to do this. Like, I'm not trying to hear this sob story about some cap ass.
Ball's in your court. Are you gonna run with it and shoot it, or are you gonna sit down with it? I think if I tell y'all everything, that I'll get out of a lot of trouble. I think I will. We need you to hook us up then, all right? I'll tell you, but this is what happened. Alan told me that we were gonna rob some people and some money and stuff. Did he know these people? They all knew him. Okay. They were in the house and stuff. Okay.
I needed money because I ain't got no family.
Since Bruce's crying makes the audio very hard to understand from this point on, I'm going to provide a summary of his confession. Bruce informed the police that Michael Jackson was the mastermind behind the plan to rob the Sumners, and that the group of four had meticulously planned the crime over several weeks. The plan went as follows. First, they selected a spot close to Bruce's previous home to dig a grave for the disposal of the couple's remains. Then, for several days, they closely monitored the Sumners' house and tracked their movements. And finally, when they felt the time was right, Tiffany rented a Mazda RX-8 in South Carolina and drove it down to Jacksonville to be used during the crime. When they arrived at the residence around 10 p.m. on July 8th, Alan and Bruce walked up to the door. The two men approached the couple under the disguise of being lost, looking for a friend's house, and desperately needing to use a phone. They had with them a black bag, which contained duct tape, plastic wrap, gloves, and a very realistic plastic gun. Once inside the house, Reggie and Carol were restrained, while Alan and Bruce ransacked the home, collecting jewelry, property documents, credit cards, and rare coins. The couple was then bound and gagged with duct tape and forced into the trunk of their own Lincoln Town Car. While the two men drove with the Sumners in the trunk, Michael and Tiffany closely followed in the rental. Bruce claimed that Michael had a plan to be pulled over for speeding in the Mazda RX-8 if a police car got too close to the Lincoln. After fueling up at a nearby gas station, the group drove about 30 miles across state lines to a remote area in southern Georgia. There, the Sumners were forced to disclose their bank account PINs before they were forced to lay down in the pre-dug grave. They were then buried alive. After the murders, the group abandoned the Sumners' Lincoln.
Huh? No. You telling me you buried them alive? Also, like I've said before, or if I haven't said it, I've thought this a lot of times. If you want to bury a body, you definitely do it in Georgia. I'm just saying, it's just so much random ass bodies of water or unexplored, not unexplored, but underdeveloped woods everywhere. But yeah, go ahead.
In a field in Sanderson, Florida. Tiffany and Alan returned to the Sumner residence to steal a computer, which they later pawned for cash. Subsequently, around $5,000 was withdrawn from the Sumner bank accounts over the following days. Thanks to Bruce's confession, Reggie and Carol were discovered on July 16, 2005, just 8 days after they were brutally murdered.
The Sumners' bodies were found days later in a shallow grave in Charlton County, Georgia. They had been buried alive.
Authorities say that the couple was still holding each other when they were found in the grave. The autopsy conducted by medical examiner Dr. Anthony Clark showed that sand was found deeply lodged in the throats and respiratory systems of the couple, which confirmed that they died from vivisipulture, otherwise known as premature burial. As we continue with this story, it's important to highlight that suspects often deny any involvement or, at the very least, downplay their role in a crime during an investigation. And this case was no different, with each suspect providing a slightly different story. Now, the key issue in this case wasn't determining whether all four suspects were guilty for their part in the Sumners' murder. It was about determining whether they were all equally culpable. In what could be described as the classic blame game, Michael James Jackson was identified by all other suspects as the mastermind behind this horrific plan. They highlighted his expertise in blackmail and robbery, stating that he had even hacked into a victim's personal data in the past. But when speaking with Michael, he blamed everyone else, claiming that he did not take part in the murders and only provided his robbery expertise as a coach to the other three.
You want to be real, man? It was a robbery that happened that shouldn't happen, man. I get approached, man. Hey, there's this much money involved.
Who approached you?
Okay. Alan knew I was good, man. And yeah, I'm gonna give my expertise. I'm gonna give my advice. You know what I'm saying?
What was your advice?
My advice was, hey, do what you want. You know what I'm saying?
Do what you want ain't advice.
That ain't advice, man.
What was your advice to Alan and Bruce?
Not advice, like, what's the word, man? Like a mentor, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you if you're doing something wrong. So, like I said, so far,
tell them your plan's good.
You wasn't doing nothing wrong. My words were, if you're gonna use this, don't leave no fingerprints. You know what I'm saying? To make sure you don't leave no fingerprints.
Did Bruce or Alan have a gun?
Yeah, they had a damn toy gun.
What happened to the gun?
Don't ask me.
After discovering Reggie and Carol's bodies, it was immediately apparent that digging a grave that size would have taken multiple people several hours to do. However, the only person admitting to pre-digging the hole at this point was Bruce.
Can you tell us something about the graves?
Graves?
Or the hole?
It is physically impossible to dig that hole for two people to dig that hole in that amount of time span.
It's not going to happen. It can't
You'd
happen.
have had a backhoe.
Yeah. Because we had to have a backhoe
to get him out.
You can't even say that because, I mean, I done seen Marines, man, dig a 6x6, man, in 20 minutes. I mean, just because mentally.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Are you, Tiffany?
I was about to say, are any of y'all Marines? He's losing me. I'm lost. What is he speaking of?
Alan or Bruce? Marines?
You just kill 2 people. In your mind, you digging a hole. Shit, man, you going to be like lightning, man. You going to feel like you just did an ounce of coke.
How would you know that?
The way I look at it, you got me on the, you know what I'm saying, the ATM. And yeah, in the back of my mind, that's like getting caught with a smoking gun in my hand. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I got 2 people that just got buried alive, credit card, and I'm taking money out their account. Oh yeah, I mean, you might as well say, I'm taking a picture with them. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You might as well say that. So of course, it's all on me to build a defense around that.
Don't you already know they're dead
wild.
before you go to the ATM?
When I used that ATM machine, man, I didn't know nothing about them people being dead. I wasn't at that crime scene, man. I ain't watched them people being buried alive, man. That's real.
Full of it. It scares me.
One observation you could make about Mike with absolute certainty is that he is incredibly overconfident. At this point, the case built against him was rock solid. He was found with the Sumner's bank cards, caught pretending to be them, and had every other suspect indicating that he was guiding them the entire way through. 5 months after his first interview, on June 6th, 2006, police received a handwritten letter from Mike stating that he would like to speak with detectives again. This time, he seemed certain that he had the evidence to prove he was only involved in the robbery and not the murder.
2 things. First,
the DNA test?
DNA test, yeah. That was the first thing that we needed to talk to you about. The second thing was, got your letter today.
Today?
Just got it today. You're getting faster. So what you want to talk about today?
Basically, last time I went to court, he put in the motion for the bond or whatever.
What do you want, a bond hearing?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get.
Ain't
gonna happen.
Why can't I get a bond hearing?
It's a capital murder case in Florida. There is no bond.
Good.
Ain't gonna happen. If I was in your position, I damn sure wouldn't show back up.
Yeah, but I can prove, man.
You're getting all this I can prove what crap now.
I can prove a lot of stuff. I can prove that I ain't killed nobody.
How you gonna do that?
Because I can do that. All I need is an alibi, a credible witness, definitely that can put me with them on this date, said that I'll kill these people. I got that. I ain't had nothing to do with killing nobody, you know what I'm saying? I might have known about this shit and all this other shit, but as far as having anything to do with it,
that's still conspiracy.
Tell me what you know about it then.
Michael then goes on to tell a brand new story. He now says that he helped Tiffany and Alan come up with the robbery plan and only encountered Bruce at a motel following the robbery. He says that he was at the motel during the night of the murders, and after they finished up with their plan, they returned to the motel and Bruce handed him the Sumner's bank cards and asked Mike to figure out a way to access the funds. Bruce and Alan then went to Alan's house for the night, and Mike and Tiffany returned to Charleston in separate vehicles. Tiffany in her own car and Michael in the rental. Needless to say, this new story is instantly shut down by detectives.
I know you were there. Okay, Michael, did you know it was going to happen? I don't know. Okay. Do I know you were there? Yeah, I freaking know you were there.
If that DNA shit, that should prove, if it's, okay, no DNA is out there, that'll prove I wasn't there, right?
No.
What do I need to prove that I wasn't there?
I mean, you can think of stories all day, but it ain't going to help.
That's what I'm saying. So right now,
the only thing I don't know is, you know, were you taking part in putting those people in the ground, or were you standing there going, this is fucked up? This is the only thing I don't know. I mean, if you watched all that shit happen and you didn't have nothing to do with it, you need to tell me about it. You need to tell me every last detail of it.
Okay, if I did, let's say if I did watch it happen, I said I had nothing to do with it. How's that going to help me? What's the best thing that can come out of what's the best thing that can happen to me? If the whole truth, y'all get there, if everything comes out positive.
Everything comes out. The absolute best thing is, they're probably not going to seek the death penalty.
Right.
Okay? But that's on the table right now. We can't make that deal. Okay? Nope. That's up to the state attorney and your attorney. You come wholly clean with them, or wholly clean with us after talking with them, you know, they can make those arrangements. I can't do that. Okay?
Michael is beginning to understand that he cannot lie his way out of this situation, since police have crucial evidence linking him to the crime scene, including his fingerprint inside the Sumner's Lincoln. Not only that, but mentioning the death penalty seemed to cause a shift in his behavior, causing him to appear more desperate to reach some sort of deal. The next thing he tries to do is offer up information about other crimes, likely hoping that he can negotiate a lesser charge.
Wait, what?
You said aside from this, you know a whole bunch of other stuff, a whole bunch of other
gang shit.
Like what?
How serious the stuff we're talking about? What
Murder, drugs, all kind of shit. I'm talking about elite right there in front of you. I'm talking about some serious
Elite. Yo, his mental is cooked. That man mental is cooked. He said murders and said elite in the same sentence. This is before TikTok, but he got brain rot.
Look up the murder in Blanding that happened with the expedition. The dude ain't died. They took him to the hospital, but he didn't die. But the other motherfucker got away. I know where he at right now. Like I said, I know what gang of drugs is right now. I'm talking about keys of dope. Keys of dope. If I ain't gonna get a bond, I at least gotta get, we got to do something. You know what I'm saying? Something. I got 4 notepads. I can fill them. I ain't gonna say I can fill them, but.
You want to think about it? Write us another note. I'll be honest. Sure, I would love to hear the rest of this.
Check it out.
But I ain't nearly as interested in that as I am in the details on this case.
Yeah, because this is your job.
Michael's attempts fall short, and he resorts back to professing his innocence. It becomes clear that the interrogation has reached a dead end.
Right.
I can get a hold of this right now, but I can try and get in touch with him.
Michael was then escorted back to his cell, where he remained until his capital murder trial began in 2007. The evidence indicated that Michael planned and participated with Alan Wade, Bruce Nixon, and Tiffany Cole in the robbery, kidnapping, and murder of Carol and Reggie Sumner. A jury, by a vote of 8-4, recommended the death penalty for the then 24-year-old Michael. Michael James Jackson was sentenced to death in August of 2007, along with co-defendant Alan Wade. Michael's death was scheduled for March 6, 2008. Bruce Nixon pled guilty to second-degree murder and received a sentence of 45 years in prison. During Tiffany Cole's week-long trial in October of 2007, her attorneys Quentin Till and Greg Masor argued that she had been under Michael's influence and maintained that she was...
Oh, Lord. Under Michael's influence, nigga, Michael would have never known about them old heads if you weren't their neighbor. So, let's just throw that dumbass out the window. Please. The buddy got life. The other buddy got life. The first person to tell the truth got 45 years. Give her a smooth 50 ball. We're talking about, well, actually, they got death. But life, huh?
Unaware that the Sumners would be killed. In fact, Tiffany stuck to the same story throughout the entire investigation. She stated that she was a willing participant in the plan to rob the couple, but she was only made aware that they were duct taped in the trunk of the car as they drove away from the house. Once they arrived at the gravesite, it was already too late for her to intervene.
Please remember that I didn't do this. I'm not the monster that created this, but I'm sorry I met him.
Assistant State Attorney Jay Plotkin contended that the motive for murder was clear. Tiffany had a relationship with Reggie and Carol Sumner, due to her and Michael's greed, they plotted to rob and kill the Sumners that night.
This defendant had a personal relationship.
Tiffany claimed she was not guilty of first-degree murder because she did not personally kill or bury the bodies. However, under Florida law, a person can be held equally responsible for a crime if they participated in it, even if they did not directly commit the act. Perhaps the most damning piece of evidence presented at the trial was a series of pictures that captured Tiffany, Alan, and Mike celebrating their heist 2 days after the murder, drinking champagne in the back of a limousine. These pictures painted Tiffany as a heartless conspirator who had zero remorse for the neighbors who were once considered family friends. On March 6, 2008, Tiffany Cole was sentenced to death at a jury vote of 9-3.
Ugly ass cry.
Been in a car accident? Here's exactly how to get every dollar you're owed. If you've been in a car accident in the last year, even as a passenger, you could be sitting on...
New developments in a big local story that we've been following since 2005. The Florida Supreme Court has thrown out the death sentence for Tiffany Cole, accused of murdering a St. Nicholas couple by burying them alive in Georgia. Joy went back into the News4 Jax archives and has this update for us. Joy.
Mary, this was a story that so many people have followed. Carol and Reggie Sumner, they were reported missing by family, and days later we learned they had been kidnapped, robbed, and then buried alive. Now, Tiffany Cole's death sentence has been thrown out.
In 2016, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that Florida's previous law allowing non-unanimous jury verdicts in death penalty cases violated the Sixth Amendment. As a result, Florida was required to resentence over 150 convicted felons. Under this new law, which applies to anyone sentenced after 2002, a jury vote must be unanimous in order to sentence a convict to the death penalty. Subsequently, in 2017, the Florida Supreme Court ordered new sentencing hearings for Tiffany, Michael, and Alan because their juries had not unanimously recommended the death penalty.
Today in Duval County, a high-profile death penalty case is going back to trial as two men convicted in the 2005 murder of an elderly Jacksonville couple are resentenced. Alan and Wade were sentenced to death along with Tiffany Cole after they were convicted of murdering Carol and Reggie Sumner by burying them alive. Now, at the time of sentencing, the judge in the case said that he could hardly envision a death more painful and vile. Because the three death penalty verdicts were not unanimous, they were thrown out in 2017, requiring new sentencing hearings.
Michael and Alan's resentencing was initially set for June 2022, but due to Alan's emotional outbursts in court, the judge decided to hold separate retrials for the co-defendants. Alan's trial proceeded that same month, with his defense arguing that he was not the mastermind behind the murders, and therefore he should not receive the death penalty. During their trials, state prosecutors had Bruce Nixon testify against the three other suspects, in which Bruce emphasized that Michael Jackson was indeed the mastermind. This brings us right back to the testimony at the beginning of this video.
Are you guilty of kidnapping Carol and Reggie Sumner?
Yes, sir.
Are you guilty of robbing them?
Yes, sir.
Are you guilty of killing them?
Yes, sir.
Who participated in that crime with you?
Me, Alan Wade, Tiffany Cole, and Michael Jackson.
Please tell the jury how you first became involved in the plot to kill Carol and Reggie Sumner.
Alan came over with the RX-8, came over to my house, and he asked me about robbing somebody.
Tell the jury what happened when you finally found a place to dig this hole.
After we found a hole, we started digging a hole. Tiffany was holding a light while we was digging a hole.
And who dug the hole?
Me, Alan Wade, and Tiffany, Michael Jackson.
Tell the jury at this point when you're...
But you just said she was holding the light. Now I'm confused.
Digging the hole, what is your knowledge about what's going to happen?
That a robbery going to be taking place?
And how is the hole going to be related to the robbery?
How? I didn't know then.
Did you know the hole was related to the robbery?
Yes, sir.
In some fashion?
Yes, sir.
Now, why are you doing this? Why are you participating in this plan?
For money. Because I ain't really have nobody to support me, so the only way I thought to get money was to do this.
How much money was discussed?
$200,000.
How much?
$200,000.
Now, what happens when that door opens up and you ask to use the phone, you and Alan Wade?
We walk in the house. We walk in the house and pulled out the phone, and then we were walking in. Alan grabbed Mr. Sumner and sat him down in the chair. Then I pulled out the gun. That's when we said, you know, what I'm saying, we need your bank cards and stuff.
Who pulled out that phone line?
Alan Wade.
And what were you doing when Alan Wade, right after he pulls out the phone line?
I had the gun on Mr. and Mrs. Sumner.
Tell the jury what was happening while you were guarding the Summers.
Michael Jackson and Alan were going around looking for bank statements and stuff.
Was a large pile of mail and statements actually taken from the home?
Yes, sir.
What was the next thing that happened after they found what they were looking for?
Michael Jackson went out to the car and told us to bring Mr. and Mrs. Sumner into the Lincoln.
And did you do that?
Yes, sir.
What happened when you got there?
We were helping them in the car. We put them in the trunk.
Did you give anyone any water or anything like that?
Yes, sir. Miss Sumner said she was thirsty, so I walked over to the refrigerator and got her a bottled water.
How did she drink the bottled water if she had tape on her mouth?
I took the tape off of her mouth.
Did you put it back on?
Yes, sir.
Tell the jury how the Sumners were able to get into the trunk.
We helped them in there. Me and Alan helped them.
Tell the jury what happens when you get out there.
When we get out there, we pull up to the grave site. Michael Jackson went up to the car and popped the trunk, and seeing that the duct tape was off of them and started screaming, started talking about putting duct tape back on them. So I walked around and put duct tape back on them because I didn't put it on real tight. I just put it on there so back over their eyes and stuff and over their arms and their feet because they got all the way out of it.
Now, what were the Sumners doing in the back of the trunk when they had gotten out of their duct tape?
They were hugging.
Why did Michael Jackson get so upset about their duct tape being?
Because he said that when he killed them that he didn't want them to see him because it was a mind thing.
Did you know what was going to happen to the Sumners?
Yes, sir.
What was going to happen to the Sumners?
They were about to die.
And you knew that.
Yes, sir.
Bruce Nixon's testimony proved instrumental in the convictions for the rest of the group. Before being resentenced, Allen was given a chance to speak to the court directly.
For what?
I can promise that the person capable of doing these things no longer exists. I'm finally on the path to being the man that I always wanted to be. I've decided to, I've dedicated my life to being virtuous, devoted, and loving. Again, none of this is meant to justify or defend my inexcusable crimes. I wholeheartedly wish there was something I could do or say to heal all the hearts I've broken, to ease the animus, and to undo my gross violations against humanity.
Damn, he went and learned while he was in prison.
After several days of testimony, Allen Wade was resentenced to life without the possibility of parole. Michael Jackson and Tiffany Cole would later have their resentencing in August of 2023.
Michael James Jackson was the ringleader of a group who buried Reggie and Carol Sumner alive in 2005. News Direct reporter Ashley Harding joins us live. And Ashley, Jackson's retrial was originally set to begin last year.
That is true, Bruce and Amanda. Yeah, he was supposed to be retried with his co-defendant Allen Wade last year, but the judge agreed to separate the two cases after Allen Wade started crying during jury selection in the courtroom. Now, Wade's resentencing went on as planned last year, but now it's Michael Jackson's turn. Jackson is the one who came up with the plan to kidnap, rob, and murder the Sumners. This is the second time that he's tried to appeal his case. Now, defendant Tiffany Cole is set to be resentenced again in August.
With all evidence and testimonies pointing to Michael James Jackson as the mastermind of the crime, a jury resentenced him to the death penalty in a majority vote. On August 23rd, 2023, after a 3-hour deliberation, the jury decided by a 10-2 vote to sentence Tiffany Cole to life in prison without the possibility of parole, thereby sparing her life.
Brother, she's the initiator. She's the initiator. Come on. Like, Michael wouldn't even have had the plan about getting the money because he wouldn't have known about them if he never met Shorty ass. This is crazy. They need to go in there together. Death penalty. Bonnie and Clyde. Come here.
Heinous crime that ends with healing. Tiffany Cole was sentenced to life in prison by a jury today, bringing an end to a case that has haunted Jacksonville since 2005. That earlier death sentence was thrown out several years ago, and the verdict in her resentencing was resounding, with 10 jurors voting for life behind bars. And it was followed by an even more surprising reaction from the victim's family.
I mean, it's been 4
A death
years.
penalty case with an ending no one expected. Mercy for the defendant and hugs for her mother. The Reverend Jean Clark lost her brother Reggie Sumner and his wife Carol in a crime of almost unparalleled brutality, bound with duct tape and buried in what prosecutors called a death pit. Several witnesses testified that Cole is a changed person, a woman of deep faith capable of helping others.
At the time of Tiffany Cole's deal, there were 394 individuals on death row, with only 5 of them being women, including Tiffany Cole. Tiffany Cole, who is now 42, is currently serving her life sentence in the Lowell Correctional Institution in Ocala, Florida. Bruce Nixon, who is now 37, was sentenced to 45 years in prison and is currently serving his time at the Cross City Correctional Institution in Cross City, Florida. Michael James Jackson, who is now 42, is currently on death row at the Florida State Prison in Rayford, Florida. And finally, Allen Wade, who is now 37, is serving his life sentence also at the Florida State Prison. Since his conviction, Allen has since married a French woman named Sigrid, who he met by mail. The couple welcomed a baby boy in 2021, but they maintained secrecy about how they conceived the baby. Conjugal visitation is forbidden on death row. They have decided not to reveal any details of how they conceived their baby boy, as Sigrid wants to reveal this to her son when he is older.
Nigga, he don't need to know that. 1, 2. He don't got. Did he get the death penalty again? No, he got life, right? He got life, so I mean, whatever. I mean, I guess hooray for. I don't know, bro. He brought a baby into the world. He seems like he changed. I don't know. Congrats on the kid. It's just still weird. Like, How did y'all? But wait, drop off a semen sample and then artificial insemination? I'm confused now. No, I'm actually confused. This no made no sense. This crime was crazy. I don't know how you people thought you were getting away with this at all. You just think y'all can call dispatchers and be like, yeah, this is the Sumners. And y'all regular voice is the craziest work in American history. You and Tiffany and Michael Jackson making this plan up and then trying to act like they had nothing to do with it. They was barely involved. It's just egregious knowing y'all the one that wrote 2 other people into the damn plan in the first place. And the plan was just stupid. I mean, you're supposed to be taking care of old people, not putting them over. Like, what are you doing? I mean, you just try to, I don't know, bro. I get it. You wanted money, but how long did y'all get to spend the money? 2 weeks? A week and a half? You got to spend the money for a week and a half. Did things that are forever. Did forever things. That, like, they changed lives forever, the things that y'all did. And now y'all are just prison babies. And a guy who had a baby out of prison. Literally. Yeah, this is just a gang of bad decision making. A group of people that probably should have never ever got together ever to do anything. But that's the end of the video. So make sure I like, comment, subscribe, share the video, share your thoughts on the video in the comment section below. Hit the notification bell so you can stay up to date when I drop videos on this channel. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Stay safe, y'all.
Everything I see and I achieve it, bitch, we everything I see and I achieve it, bitch, we best. Everything everything I'm seeing, I achieved it, bitch, you best believe it. It has been my Nintendo switch it, though, kick it with my kinfolk. Haters just be talking, so I really do not need their info. Yeah, their info. Yeah.